we think VOX is a really attractive inflation hedge that offers investors high organic growth with very low risk.
Joining us for a conversation is Spencer Cole, the Chief Investment Officer of VOX Royalty. Mr. Cole, welcome to the show, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here, Maurice. Thanks for having me.
It's a great time to have you back on the program as VOX Royalty continues to provide shareholders a smart way to invest in commodities. Before we begin, Mr. Cole, please introduce us to VOX Royalty and the opportunity the company presents to shareholders.
Absolutely, Maurice. So VOX Royalty is a high-growth, precious metals-focused mining royalty investment company. The company's been around for 8 years. And over those 8 years, we've built what we believe is the most unique mining royalty investment company in our entire $70 billion industry. We're consistently delivering the highest rate of return on invested capital at what we believe is the lowest potential portfolio risk level. So particularly for some of your listeners who are concerned about inflation levels at the moment, we think VOX is a really attractive inflation hedge that offers investors high organic growth with very low risk.
Now, Mr. Cole, last month, VOX Royalty announced some exciting news for shareholders regarding development and exploration updates from your royalty operating partners. This month appears equally exciting as VOX Royalty has just announced additional key developments which look to strengthen your royalty portfolio. Beginning in Nevada, take us on to the Gold Standard Ventures South Railroad Gold Project and provide us with an update on the feasibility study, permitting, and construction financing.
Sure thing, Maurice. The South Railroad project, for listeners who aren't aware, is a rapidly advancing gold project in Nevada, which is obviously arguably one of the most pro-mining, particularly pro-gold mining jurisdictions on the planet. The operator just provided an update to the market that they're rapidly approaching completion of the feasibility study, which is targeted for the first quarter of next year. And then once they complete that feasibility study, they're going to move straight into construction financing. Now, they've already got one of the world's largest mining private equity funds, Orion, who's given them a $200 million term sheet to fund the construction of this mine. But they'll be looking to go back to other investment groups to see, where the best source of financing is. So going into early next year, we expect a huge amount of really exciting news flow as to how this project is going to be constructed. And then their management has also provided an update. They expect to receive their final permits to start construction of this project within 18 months. So a really exciting gold project that's rapidly moving towards production over the coming years.
Speaking of exciting news for next year, let's go to Black Cat's Bulong Gold Project, where they're looking at a first production guidance in 2022. What can you share with us?
This is a really exciting royalty within our portfolio for a few reasons, Maurice. As you mentioned, the Black Cat Syndicate, which is the operator of this Bulong Gold Project, they've just reiterated guidance. They're expecting this gold mine to be in production in the second half of next year. So investors can look forward to the royalty revenue that comes with that. But the cherry on the cake, so to speak, with this royalty is not only is the company actively moving this project forward towards production next year, but they're aggressively drilling out the land package. So on an annualized basis, they're drilling over 80,000 meters on this land package. So, not only are investors looking forward to I guess, near-term royalty revenues on this property, but also there's likely to be a huge volume of discovery news flow, over the coming months and quarters as they continue that drilling campaign.
Oh, that sounds exciting. All right, we've covered gold. Let's discuss silver and platinum group metals. Beginning with silver at the Bowden's Silver Project by Silver Mines. How's their drilling and development campaign coming along?
So it's coming along extremely well, Maurice. For listeners who aren't aware about this Bowden's project, it's the largest primary silver project in all of Australia. So on a silver equivalent basis, there's approximately 275 million ounces of silver equivalent resource in the ground here. So just an extremely large ore body. The operator, Silver Mines, they're working through final permitting at the moment. And then they're also progressing they're also progressing an expansion case looking at a high-grade underground that would go on top of the open pit operation. So, we expect that this project is rapidly heading towards a construction decision with final permits in hand next year. And the managing director of the operator was recently quoted on Bloomberg as saying he personally believes there's potential for this ore body to triple in size. So from what is already a monstrously large silver deposit, the managing director of the operator thinks there's a multiple of this potentially in the ground, which is even more exciting for our investors.
Well, you have me smiling from ear to ear here on this one. All right, finally, my favorite metal, the platinum group metals. What are the latest developments coming from Valour?
So this is another exciting royalty within our portfolio of 54 royalties, Maurice. For listeners who aren't familiar with the Pedra Branca project, Valour's flagship asset. It's also the largest platinum groups metal project and deposit in all of South America. So Valour has been aggressively drilling this property out. So they've been doing approximately a 10,000 meter drilling program this year. And our expectation from management is that they're preparing for a resource update in the coming months. So we look forward to seeing the size of this resource grow, and then for this project to continue to move along down the development pathway, towards production over the coming years. So all eyes are on the resource update that we expect in the next few months.
Now, Mr. Cole, as you look back at 2021 and then forward onto 2022, VOX Royalty in many regards has exceeded expectations in terms of your development, discovery drilling, and bolstering your royalty portfolio. VOX Royalty is on track for a record year on moving projects into production. Can you comment further on that?
Certainly, Maurice. So 2021, as you touched on, really has been, I guess, a transformational year in VOX eight-year history. So, we've increased the number of producing royalty assets that we have in our portfolio to 5. We've had record volumes of partner-funded drilling on our royalty properties. We've had a record number of projects, I guess, moving forward into sort of development stage as well, supporting the near-term growth potential as well. But then, importantly for investors, as we look ahead towards next year, 2022, we expect that a lot of that key organic growth is even going to be outpaced and set to continue going into next year. So, just by way of example, there are 3 additional projects that we expect to commence production next year that are in varying stages of construction currently. There's 4 separate feasibility studies that we expect to be released next year. And, the volume of drilling on our royalty properties, we expect that will be achieve a new record in 2022 as well. So for VOX shareholders, they can look forward to a huge volume of organic growth in revenue and underlying development within our royalty properties without any additional capital required to actually acquire those royalties.
Now, before we leave the property bank, what is the next unanswered question for VOX Royalty? When can we expect a response, and what determines success?
So I think as we touched on in our last interview, Maurice, I think the main catalysts that investors continue to be excited about in VOX is really just the organic growth within our portfolio and what that means for our revenue projections. So as I touched on, we've seen a huge volume of growth in the number of producing royalties that we have. So when we went public last year, we only had 1 producing royalty asset. And look, that was one criticism of the company, that people wanted us to have more producing assets. And where we stand today, we've now got 5 producing royalty assets. And organically, without spending any additional capital on new royalties, we expect that that will increase from 5 producing royalty assets to 10 and north of 10 by late 2023. So what is the unanswered question is, how soon will those new royalty assets come into production? And what does that mean for revenue, which has already been growing at quite a substantial rate? So I think the great news for our investors is they don't need to wait a very long time. This is a matter of months and quarters as they continue to see that growth organically within the portfolio. that incremental revenue that's going to come from those producing operations.
I love the business acumen here. Let's look at some numbers. Sir, please provide us the capital structure for VOX Royalty.
So we have a very tight capital structure at VOX. We've got less than 40 million shares on issue. We're in a net cash position on our balance sheet. Our total working capital is approximately $9 million on the balance sheet between cash and listed investments. So very strong balance sheet, very, very careful about not issuing stock. We as management, we own about 15% of the company, and our family members own additional stock on top of that. So this is very much a investor-led and managed business, where management is fully aligned with our investor group.
In closing, Mr. Cole, what would you like to say to shareholders?
Thanks for shareholders and listeners' time today. I'd strongly encourage you to have a look at the VOX Royalty website. We're on the cusp and continuing to deliver on a strategy that is high growth but low capital intensity, where we're offering incredible returns at very disciplined prices, and particularly in this inflationary environment that we find ourselves in today, getting exposure to a portfolio of base and precious metal assets such as VOX has in its portfolio is a really smart way to hedge inflation risk. So I strongly encourage investors, particularly those that are worried about inflation, to seriously consider having a look at VOX Royalty in more detail.
Last question, sir. What did I forget to ask?
No, I think you probably forgot to ask why is your accent so strange, and it's unfortunately because I was born to the southernmost continent in Australia. So apologies to listeners for my unfortunate Australian accent. I hope it wasn't too difficult to listen to, Maurice.
Oh, we thoroughly enjoyed it, sir. Mr. Cole, you referenced the website. Please share the contact details for VOX Royalty, please.
Absolutely. So our website is just www.voxroyalty.com. Or if any listeners have specific queries or want to have a call with management, feel free to email us at info at voxroyalty.com, and we'd be happy to respond and have a call with you after this.
Mr. Cole, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Wishing you and VOX Royalty the absolute best, sir.
Thanks so much, Maurice. Thanks for your time.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.